This is Nick Quaglia, Marv, and Mike Molyneaux with the CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. In other than the Super Bowl, we're in the off season. Time to drag out some topics to talk about. Do you guys have any thoughts on the Super Bowl?
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Rams. Two different style teams made it to the Super Bowl. Rams were able to pull it off. I'm not enjoying all of this Matthew Stafford Hall of Fame talk.
Yeah, it's what happens every time. It's so annoying. I low-key agree with Richard Sherman.
I don't know what he said, but
he
I know what Nick Wright said on that whatever show on FS1.
I don't pay attention to Nick Wright at all.
Me neither, but what he said was valid this time around.
Well,
if it was probably in agreement with Richard Sherman.
Yeah, if it's something along the lines of what Richard Sherman said, it's basically like they're making the Hall of Fame just like they're watering it down every single year.
It's getting bad, bro.
Yeah.
Like what are our standards now? You just got to be good to be in the Hall of Fame. I remember growing up looking at legends.
Yeah.
It's becoming the NBA. Like Matt Stafford's. Look, I've always been a Matt Stafford fan. Honestly, let's make this a topic, huh? I've always been. Should Matt Stafford be in the Hall of Fame? I've always been a Matt Stafford fan. I've always thought he's been very good, but you have to win. And for 12 seasons, he didn't. He just didn't. I don't care that he was with the Lions. He just didn't win. And you have to win to go to the Hall of Fame. If he pulls out another Super Bowl next year, sure, let's have that conversation.
Look, it's as simple as this. You can break down the argument just like this. Last year, who uttered Matthew Stafford as a Hall of Famer? Not a soul. Not even Detroit fans were claiming Matthew Stafford's a Hall of Famer last year. You win, okay. I don't even know I need to see like MVP season from him. I need to see when you're a Hall of Fame quarterback, you need to be one of the top 3 quarterbacks in your generation. When I think of Hall of Fame quarterbacks, I'm thinking about the Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger. Those guys, there wasn't a question mark. You already knew right away, boom, Hall of Fame. Go down the list, Aaron Rodgers, no question, Hall of Fame. Everybody else, Eli, what's his name? Phillip Rivers, this question mark. So anytime there's a question mark, you're not a Hall of Famer to me.
Right. And that should make sense. And here's a comparison that I've seen a lot thrown around. If Matt Stafford's a Hall of Famer, then so is Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan won an MVP. And would you say Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer?
No. He has the numbers. Numbers are we gotta like it's easier to get numbers in this generation. So we can't use that as the standard. Yeah, we can't use that as the standard.
It's just I don't know. Like I said, I'm a big Matt Stafford fan. I wanted him to become when during the transition year, I wanted him to come to the Patriots, but he was basically like I think he only listed 2 teams he didn't want to go to, and the Patriots were one of them. I don't know why. Maybe because they didn't have any weapons at the time. But he's good. I think he's really good. I would love him to be the quarterback of my football team if we didn't have Mac Jones. But is he a Hall of Fame? Like I agree with Richard Sherman. They're watering it down. And if they're just going to start letting people in, eventually it's going to become the NBA where if you're good, if you're a recognized name, you're getting in. Like even baseball makes it hard. Baseball is the worst when it comes to like gatekeeping. They make it really hard to get in. Like David Ortiz got in and that was a whole debate. He was the only one to make it in this year. But I mean, I don't know. He's fine. He's good. He's really good. Hall of Fame now.
Yeah, I've always been a Matt Stafford fan, like you, Nick. He's just unfortunately been on a Detroit Lions team that can't win. But even when you looked at those sucky ass Detroit Lions teams, it wasn't just like, oh well, Matt Stafford's just a bad quarterback and he's the reason why. Nah, it's just the culture and everything with Detroit. They just wasn't a winning culture. But Matt Ryan has always been a solid quarterback. The problem is, within all the years that Matt Stafford's been in the league, I don't think there's ever been a season where you could be like, oh, he's top 5 best quarterbacks in the league that season.
Well, he won MVP, right? Or am I wrong?
Mike's talking about Stafford. He said Ryan by accident.
Oh, yeah. I thought, okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Matt Stafford. I don't think he's ever had a season where he was considered top 5 in the league at the quarterback position. Because majority of the time that Matthew Stafford's been in the league, you're dealing with Brady, Breeze, Rodgers,
even Manning for a bit.
Peyton Manning for a little bit. I know Roethlisberger's had his time at the top.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Phillip Rivers. Then you talk about even in the later years, you talk about guys like Mahomes stepping up. Josh Allen, Russell Wilson. Like, there's never been a season where you look at Matt Stafford like, oh, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. On top of that, I think looking at some stats that I saw posted somewhere, he's never been an All-Pro. He's maybe made the Pro Bowl once in his career, and that says something. Like, most people look at Matt Stafford, oh, he's been a solid quarterback in his career, but like, yeah, the individual accolades also count for something. And if you aren't bringing home, yeah, maybe we're not saying win MVP every single year, but you're not making Pro Bowls, like pro, like you're not making Pro Bowls, guys. Like, that's something. That's something.
I didn't know the Pro Bowl stat. That's bad. Everybody makes the Pro Bowl.
I think from what I saw, he's only made one Pro Bowl his whole career. I think that's what I read.
That's brutal. That's a bad look.
So
I've never heard that's crazy.
People who are making the argument that he should be in the Hall of Fame probably are similar to you and me, Nick. That we like Matt Stafford. He's been a solid quarterback, but let's not be a prisoner of the moment. Yeah, he played solid. He played decent in the Super Bowl. Got the Super Bowl. No, he didn't get the Super Bowl MVP. But he got a Super Bowl ring. But I'm not gonna say, oh, he's finally broke the threshold and he has a Super Bowl win. Let's just forget about the fact that he's been just an average quarterback his whole year. And just because he got a Super Bowl ring, let's throw him in the Hall of Fame. Should Nick Foles be in the Hall of Fame because he got a Super Bowl win? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? I thoroughly enjoyed Matt Stafford, and like you said, Nick, the transitional year for the Patriots, I definitely wish we could have possibly had an opportunity to get him. I mean, he didn't want to come here. It is what it is. But I don't think a lot of people would have been upset if Matt Stafford were to come to the Patriots, because he's never been a bad, sucky quarterback. But at the same time, he's not been on the same elite level of some of those guys I listed earlier. So let's see what you do next year, Matthew Stafford. You're in a good situation with the Rams. You're going to have Kupp around. Hopefully you get Robert Woods back. We'll see Odell Beckham Jr. situation. But, if you stick around with the Los Angeles Rams and they continue to find success,
that's it.
He's not a super old. I don't know how old. He's probably, mid-30s?
34.
34. He can still put together a couple solid seasons. And maybe possibly get a chance at another Super Bowl ring, and then the conversation will start. But if he had to retire right now with this one Super Bowl ring, I'm not even considering him in the Hall of Fame at all.
No, but by the time he's eligible, like, it feels like he's going to be one of those guys that just slides in because it's becoming weaker and weaker and weaker.
And here's the threshold, Nick. You brought up Matt Ryan. Whenever Eli Manning makes it to the Hall of Fame, because he will.
Oh, he's gonna.
Once Eli makes it to the Hall of Fame, the floodgates is open. Matt Ryan will get in. Once Eli Manning gets into the Hall of Fame, Matt Ryan's getting into the Hall of Fame. And once Matt Ryan gets to the Hall of Fame, now you're talking about all of these above average tinkering quarterbacks who get in.
Fringe Hall of Fame quarterbacks. That's what it's going to be.
Because Eli Manning is going to be the bar. And that's going to be a huge issue.
And here's the thing. Not to get into the whole Eli Manning conversation, but if Eli Manning didn't have the last name Manning, I don't even know if he gets in.
You think he's getting by off the coattails of his big bro?
I think that him being one of the biggest football families that's ever come through the NFL, I think that helps him a lot. I don't know if his last name is Ryan, if he's Matt Ryan, I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer. I think it's a much harder case to make, but him being Eli Manning, a Manning, it helps his cause a little bit. That's all I'm saying. Speaking of Super Bowl, I had a 4-leg parlay. I was rocking. I was excited. Number 1, Matt Ryan over 5.5 rush yards. Scrambled for 7. Check.
Stafford.
We're all over the place. Odell Beckham Jr., anytime touchdown. Hit. Matt Ryan, over 24.5 completions.
Stafford.
Matt Stafford, over 24.5 completions. Hit. You know what I needed? I needed a Jamar Chase touchdown. And if Joe Burrow had a split second more to throw that ball, Jalen Ramsey who had a rough game.
It was going to get worse.
Rough game.
It was going to get worse. I saw that.
He face planted. I had it. It was in my hands. And it got ripped away from me. And hey, speaking of rip, T. Higgins. I don't know if he did it up. I mean, that's a illegal move, but he straight up took Jalen. It was Jalen Ramsey's head, right?
Yep.
Can't do that.
And snapped it around so he couldn't even see the football. I mean, call it what you want. The guy's using his brains. You don't want to hurt anybody, but he's making sure he can't see the football. T. Higgins had a game. Anyway. All right, guys, simple question. What shape do you want the Patriots offense to take now that Josh McDaniels is gone? It's for sure going to look a little different, maybe not drastically different, but what do you want to see, say, more of or less of in the Patriots offense now that Josh McDaniels is in Las Vegas?
Definitely looking for a more balanced offense. I definitely understand, last year seemed, especially later on in the season, the Patriots had a two-headed monster at running back. With Damian Harrison and Ramondre Stevenson. And they relied on them a lot, and they should have because they were putting in work. They were probably putting up, I think Patriots for a while, they was putting up some of the best rushing numbers across the NFL. But I definitely want to see in year 2 for Mac Jones, him getting the chance to throw the ball even more than he did last year. Now, I'm not saying completely abandon the running game because hopefully you get Damian Harris back fully healthy and Stevenson, you got that balance and have those guys continue to put in work like they did. But, let's see if they look to upgrade any weapons in terms of wide receiver as they get into the offseason. But more balance. I want Mac Jones dropping back and slinging that ball down the field. I believe he'll get into this offseason now after having one full year as a Patriots. He'll get into this full offseason and go through a full offseason as an NFL quarterback, hopefully put in the proper work to get better. And hopefully, the football is in his hands more, even in year 2. Well, why not see what the guy has in terms of letting him drop back in the pocket and get busy. So I'm looking for a more balanced offense going into next season.
Marv, what do you got?
Well, one, I think it's so weird how we still don't have an offensive coordinator.
Belichick.
Yeah, but it better not be. I'm tired of this. Just give the job to somebody. It's the only team that this happens with.
How do we not have an offensive coordinator yet?
Belichick don't want an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. He just wants people to be assistant something.
Listen, man, there was a point in time Matt Patricia was running the offense at Detroit. I'm scared. I'm real scared that we're leaning towards that area where Matt Patricia is going to start doing some offensive play calling for the New England Patriots. But for some changes that I want to see, Mike mentioned it. Damian and Ramondre Stevenson were great. And I think we have something special with those two at the running back position. But what really hurt us is not having a James White, not having that third running back to catch the ball off the. We needed a catching running back on the third downs to help Mac Jones on third and short, where we didn't have to just run the ball up the middle and get stopped. You had a guy who could go out in the flats and catch the ball, and James White was really, really missed, especially at the end of the year, not having him. I don't know whether that'll be him going into next year. It'll be J.J. Taylor, or they go get someone from free agency. But a third down running back is what this team needs. A pass-catching running back is what this team needs desperately. I think that will open up the offense for Mac Jones and really help him out as well when it comes to, play action. And then getting the tight ends involved more. Yes, Hunter Henry led the tight ends with touchdowns. I don't think we got enough out of him. Thought we used him a little too late, or we used him situationally.
It was always in the red zone.
Yeah.
It wasn't as much moving up the field. It was always in the red zone.
It wasn't. I feel like we could have utilized the middle of the field more with the tight ends. Getting Jonnu Smith involved more. Hunter Henry, great year. Could have got more out of him. Jacoby, I feel like all of our receivers are playing one position higher than they should.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So if we had a real number one, now you bump Jacoby down to a 3, Kendrick Bourne to a 2. I don't know what Nelson Aguilar is to this team. Well, whether he's some type of specialist, maybe Patriots didn't do a good job in using his ability, and he doesn't fit maybe a Mac Jones type of quarterback. But all of our receivers played a position higher than they should. If we get a legit number one, doesn't need to be a superstar, but a legit number one wide receiver, I think everyone will be playing their role exactly where they need to be, and that will once again open up this offense. I think Mac Jones improves. If you guys watch I didn't watch the Pro Bowl, never did in my life, but I watched the mic'd up Pro Bowl, and it was just Mac Jones. It was
he won so many fans in that game.
It was all Mac Jones from beginning to end. There was probably like 8 to 10 players mic'd up. They only showed Mac Jones for 20 minutes. I'm watching this like, oh my God, yo, they really love Mac Jones. And he just seemed really comfortable out there, had fun. And I don't know why a Pro Bowl clip gave me confidence, but it just showed me that, Mac Jones looked like he belonged. And next year, I feel like he's going to do the necessary steps to get better.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's definitely going to step up. And I think we have the guy in Mac Jones. I think he's going to be the quarterback. And he's got to be really good, and I think he will be really good. But he has to be really good because this AFC it's electric. Just from all the young quarterbacks right now: Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. I mean, you have to be good, and who knows who's going to end up as a Steelers quarterback next year? It could even be Aaron Rodgers. We don't know. But you brought up the tight ends. That's what I want to see differently. If they do, we talked about the offensive coordinators, right? If they do bring in Bill O'Brien, who was Mac Jones's OC in Alabama, he was here. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was here in 2011, right?
Who, O'Brien?
2010, 2011, yeah.
I believe so.
Yes, he was.
So that was the Hernandez Gronk double-headed monster thing.
Yep.
I want to see that again. I think Jonnu Smith has to have a better year next year. He has to, because he was the guy that when he was signed last year, you're like, okay, great. He's going to be a very solid tight end. And we knew that Hunter Henry was going to be good too. But I had more of an idea that Jonnu Smith was going to be the guy. And it turned out to be Hunter Henry. So Jonnu Smith's got to take a big step forward, and that's what I want to see next year. I want to see the Patriots offense really work with those two guys. They need to add, like you said, Marv, they need to add a number one receiver. I am not Nelson Aguilar to me this year. He just didn't even seem like he was on the team.
You got to see my finger before? Get Aguilar out of here. It's a 1-year deal. What they bring him in here?
Nah, you got a nice contract.
It's a deal.
Nah. And I was on this show in the summertime, like, I don't know about this contract, guys. I don't know about this one.
It seemed like a desperation move because they didn't have anybody.
Maybe he'll prove something different in year 2, especially if they give Mac the ball some more. Maybe he'll prove otherwise that he's more reliable than.
And we didn't utilize him much. I mean,
that is true.
So,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I want to see Calvin Ridley. I would love to see that trade happen. If it's only a second-round pick, make it happen. You made that move for Mohamed Sanu, who is 1,000. It was not nearly as good as Calvin Ridley. So please go get Calvin Ridley. Anything else? We're ready to wrap.
I like the Bill O'Brien move. What if he comes though? He won't be a Patriot for long. He was already getting. I think Jacksonville already interviewed him. He has already a great job at Alabama, I believe, right now.
Yeah, he's the OC in Alabama.
He's the OC in Alabama. I don't know why you give that up at the moment where you're still going to get head coaching calls while you're coaching Alabama anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be tough to get O'Brien over here.
Yeah. All right. CLNS Media, Patriots Roundtable, Nick Quaglia, Marv Ezhan, and Mike Molyneaux.